Hey guys, new video for Last Epoch. This video we're going to go over how I am making gold in the Merchants Guild. We're going to go over how I am finding out what items are valuable. And obviously, I am not 100% knowledgeable about all of the items in the game yet. So there may be some things that I won't mention here, but I'm 33 million gold isn't really that much, right? But for me, that's like totally fine. I can buy all the items I want. I could go buy a 4LP something if I wanted. It's definitely working. Okay, so first of all, let's take a look at some of these sales here just to show you guys. All right, so let's just look at some of the items I've sold here. There's a couple of like 5 million, 1 million, 1 million, 1.5, another 5 million, 2.5 million, 1.7 million, 500 like lower, smaller sales, 3 million, 2 million. Making some decent sales here, right? Okay, so, well, first of all, how do we know what items to pick up? So in these kind of games where there is trade, the way you find what's in demand or what's valuable is pretty much the same. You kind of like, either it's going to be a rare item, so it's like an item with a low drop rate, or in Last Epoch, like something with LP, like 3LP, 2LP, 4LP, those kind of things are obviously going to be valuable. Then there's also like idols. Idols are extremely good value because, well, the cost to list an idol is very low. So when you're starting out, selling idols is going to be very profitable because you can list like 100 idols with very little favor and still make millions of gold. Okay, so obviously there's tons of idols in the game and just tons of exalted items in the game. So like, well, what do I pick up, right? So it's not going to be very easy. It hasn't been easy for me. I've spent hours and hours researching this kind of stuff too. And everything I've kind of found out so far, I've been putting in my loot filter. I'm making a trade filter. Basically, it's in my Discord. I'll have it in the description as well. This filter isn't really hiding that much. So it's hiding all of the rares and, obviously magic and those kind of items. But we're not hiding exalts because exalts are where the big money is. Aside from LP items and idols, basically you're going to be making all your money from exalted items, idols, right? Idols and exalted items. So, you think like, all right, LP items, great. But, on average, you're not going to really be finding these 2, 3, 4 LP items all the time. But what you are going to be finding all the time is exalted items, idols. So, first of all, do you want to put a big emphasis on idols because good idols sell for a lot of money, and you probably have dropped quite a few like 1 to like 10 million gold idols that you just haven't picked up because you just don't know if it's good, right? But anyways, let's get into the guide. So how do we know what is good, right? So there is a couple ways to look for this. So the way you find out what is good is we look at the popular builds, what items they use, and then we'll go and put those items in our filter or just look out for them and then basically sell them whenever they drop. So obviously there is some generic good items like, basically all T7 affixes pretty much can all sell. I mean, like the prefixes, suffixes aren't really all that good unless it's like health. Maybe there is some good suffixes, I don't know yet, but the ones that I do know are good, especially if they're on a good base. But anyways, so Last Epoch tools, go to the builds over here, right? And then you can browse all the builds, see what items they're using, and based on the popularity of the build, which you can kind of figure out by, I don't know, I guess that also does take some knowledge too, but you can go watch the build video, see how many views it has. Like see like this one here, it's got like how many views? 5k views. Maybe it's good, but I mean, pretty much all you guys know that Falconer is meta. I mean, right? So people are gonna be playing this build. So anyways, that's kind of, I don't know, it's a little bit hard, right? So figuring out all these kind of things, but like I said, just go through some of these builds, put some of the exalted items that they're using in your filter, and I can bet you that people are going to be buying those items. So aside from Last Epoch tools, the build section, there's also a max roll. No, thank you. I do not want to subscribe. There is a max roll. They also have a lot of good builds. You can go check this out here, right? And then there's also just YouTube. You can go on YouTube, watch the video, see what items and affixes the creator recommends and that, you know, the build requires, and just start adding those to your filter and that kind of stuff. And obviously this does take quite a lot of time, and if you do want to make a lot of gold in the game at the moment, that's pretty much how you have to do it. You have to do your research, add the items to the filter, and this kind of stuff. Okay, so like we mentioned, I'll have a link to the filter that I've already been working on for quite a while, adding all these little things like that I think are going to be good, or that I've noticed that a certain build is using, and I'll just add it in here, and like for these rogue idols and this kind of stuff. And so far it's been working pretty good, so definitely go check that out. Might not be perfect, and if you do have recommendations for other things to put in the filter, then leave me. I have a Discord that you guys could go in and we can chat about that and maybe make a nice loop filter for trade and that kind of stuff. That'd be pretty cool. Okay, so let's just see what kind of items I've sold, and I'll kind of talk about some of these items and why these items were expensive. All right, so let's take a look at this idol. 5% increased health, 29 health. These are always going to sell, right? Health, double health idols. There's probably some other combinations too, like health and good resistance, and the rolls do matter quite a bit. So these kind of things are very nice. Obviously there is a lot of other combinations, and what I've been doing basically is just first my loot filter was very strict. I mean, it was very loose, and then I just picked up a bunch of stuff, went to the auction house, spent like about 10 hours price checking everything, and slowly but surely the loot filter got stricter and stricter, and then now things have gotten better. But yeah, so idols, definitely take a look at some of these idols other builds are using, and also the generic ones can be sold for quite a bit of money as well. Right, so here's another good example. Armor and health, small idol, these drop all the time from idol monoliths, right? Another one here, health, elemental resistances. We have another one here, healing effectiveness and armor shred. Might have been able to sell this for a bit more. Let's take a look at some other ones. We got here a acolyte idol, the health and ward retention. This could have sold for probably a lot more now, but anyways, I'm not really sure. But you see, like, if you go look at most acolyte builds, all of them they're all stacking health idols, right? So that's what all the acolytes want, health idols. So pretty simple. 3 LP legendary, this one's very common, but it did sell for about 2 million. Maybe that was cheap, who knows. All right, we got another one, a 5% increased health, 30 health. I could have probably sold this for more, and this was probably, I probably should have listed it for more because I sold the other one for 5 mil. All right, so double, this is like a double exalted item. I sold for 1 million, but because it's like, well, Ignite Fireball, right? It's probably like the Dream Helmet, maybe, who knows. All right, so we got another armor dive bomb. So that's like a falconer chest. Some frostbite, so frostbite, very nice. Nice thing about this one is, so why was this so expensive, right? It's just a frostbite chest, right? Well, the base is very good. It's a nice mana base, so if people, you know, are using mana, it's kind of nice. But this does have a tier 1 prefix. So what does this mean? Why is it important? It also has a tier 1 suffix. So when you're crafting, you might find these Glyph of Despairs, right? So Glyph of Despair seals an affix on the item. It'll end up looking something like this. So it gets sealed down here. So why is this important? Well, a lot of times an open prefix is very important. So if you get an item, exalted item, with an open prefix or an open suffix, but usually the prefix is a bit more valuable, that means that when you're crafting it, you can put whatever prefix you want on the item, which is very, very strong, right? Because you don't have to go through the RNG of having another thing here and using a, you know, a Glyph of Chaos or a Rune of Removal to try to get rid of that prefix. You can craft on the affix you want, right? Same with the suffix, because suffix you can craft life and that kind of stuff. Right, so having an open prefix or a tier 1 prefix is very valuable because Glyph of Despair has a 100% chance to seal a tier 1 affix. So that means it's basically free, right? Except for the fact that they can't go and seal a tier 1 affix that they want, but pretty much free, right? So definitely very, very useful to have one of those open prefixes and that kind of stuff. So same thing with this one's +3 smite, and it also has lightning damage, which is kind of cool. And the other suffixes are all tier 1, which means they can be Glyph of Despaired and they can go craft on whichever one they want. So very nice. Also, this has a decent amount of forging potential. Okay, same thing with this one here. So it's got frostbite, right? That's pretty nice. And then it also has health, health roll in the suffix, and an open prefix, which makes this very valuable because, like we said, they can craft on whatever you want. Okay, so what about bases? So bases do matter when people are actually trying to craft things for to use the actual exalted item. So there is quite a few good bases to look out for that have good rolls. You know, like the opal rings. You have for belts, you have the Praetorian belt, which is getting a lot of armor, which is like pretty nice. So I guess a lot of this comes down to game knowledge too. It's like, would you use that item? So basically, I can't really go through every single item and tell you what is good, what isn't good, but as long as you are kind of aware that, first of all, idols are expensive, two, exalted items are going to make you a lot of money, and that there is base types that exist for people who want to use the exalted item, and that tier 1 affixes are pretty valuable because you can glyph a disparate. And secondly, open prefix, open suffix, very valuable, even more so if it is a prefix. You are going to be making quite a lot of money. Alright guys, so this is kind of like all of the advice I can give at the moment because, you know, there is still a lot of things we are trying to figure out about trade. And hopefully, you know, maybe if there's a lot of you guys get together, we can try to make a, you know, a de facto trade filter that everyone can be using to, you know, maybe we can only add 75 rules, so, you know, might not have everything in it, but you know, just like a general good filter that you can use, whatever shows up is definitely going to be sellable for like what, 200k to plus gold, and help you to make your starting currency and that kind of stuff. Okay, so that's gonna be it for this one, guys. Sorry there isn't that much detailed information, but like I said, it is kind of hard to just say go buy this, you know, or go sell this item, sell that item, sell this affix, because there's just too many in the game and all these things might change in the future. But hopefully the kind of like thought process of selling or finding out what items are valuable will help you on your journey. And thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.